Spin Cycle America presents American Stories, Episode 1. Sybil Ludington, the young girl who answered the call. Welcome to Spin Cycle America. I'm Coach. This isn't about political parties. This is about principles. It's about history, responsibility, freedom, and having honest conversations about the country we all call home. So let's get started. So every nation has stories. Some stories of courage, stories of sacrifice, stories of ordinary people who stepped forward when their country needed them most. Some of those stories are famous. Everyone knows the names of George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and even Martin Luther King Jr. But every generation also has Americans whose names are not as familiar. People who didn't seek fame, people who didn't ask for recognition. They simply saw a need. They answered the call. Today, we begin a new Saturday series here on Spin Cycle America called American Stories. I think you're going to enjoy this because we're going to hit lots of different stories about famous people and people that maybe are not so famous or that we didn't hear much about. These episodes are about remembering the people, moments, and values that have shaped our nation. Today, we're going to start with a young American whose story has inspired generations. Her name is Sybil Ludington. Today's story is a young woman, a long ride, I should say, a nation fighting for independence. Imagine being 16 years old. Most teenagers today are worried about school, friends, and figuring out what their future is. Well, this young 16-year-old wasn't even thinking about those things. But in 1777, America was fighting for its future. The Revolutionary War was underway. The colonies had declared independence, but independence came with a tremendous cost. Families were divided. Communities were threatened. And ordinary people were forced to make difficult choices. According to traditional accounts, on the night of April 26, 1777, Sybil Ludington learned that British forces had attacked Dunbury, Connecticut. The local militia needed to be warned and organized. Her father, Colonel Henry Ludington, was a military commander. The story says that Sybil volunteered to ride through the countryside to alert the military members, and they needed to be gathered. They needed to gather up. They needed to report. She reportedly rode through the night, covering around 40 miles, using a stick, just a stick, to help defend herself and knocking on doors to wake people up. How many teenagers today would do something that she just did? Drop their phones and answer the call. Think about that. A teenager riding alone through dangerous territory during wartime. No cell phone, no vehicle, no easy way to communicate. Just courage, determination, and a sense of responsibility. The importance of this story is no history requires us to be honest. Some details of Sybil Ludington's ride have been debated by historians, including the exact details of the journey. But whether every detail happened exactly as later retelling describes or not, the reason her story has endured is because it represents something important. So think about it. The idea that young Americans have always had a role in the story of this nation. The American Revolution was not only fought by famous generals, it involved farmers, merchants, women, children, communities, people who believed their actions mattered. They were here to save a nation, to create a nation, to build a country, to build a nation. And that's an important lesson. A country is not built by its leaders, it's built by its people. So think about that for a minute. It's not built by our government. It's not built by the people in Congress. It's not built by the people sitting in the White House. It's built by you and me, by the people. So let's talk about history here for just a minute. During the Revolutionary War, communication was one of the greatest challenges. There were no telephones, there was no radio or modern transportation systems. Messages often depended on riders traveling long distances. Carriers carried important information between communities and military leaders, and they used horses. Horseback was how they usually got through. The ability to quickly organize people could mean the difference between success and failure. The American Revolution was not won by one person, was not won by the government. It was won by the people. It was won through thousands of acts of courage and sacrifice. So here's my salute, Coach's salute. Today, I want to salute the people who answer the call when others need them. Our volunteer firefighters, our emergency medical responders, our search and rescue volunteers, the people who leave their homes, their families, and their comfort because someone else needs help. Many of these Americans don't wear a uniform every day. They don't receive recognition. They don't do it for attention. They do it because service matters. It matters to them. They do it because they want to, because that's their calling. That spirit of service has always been part of American history. Thank you for what you do. We appreciate that. So here's the American of the week. This week's American of the week is Sybil Ludington. Whether you remember through historical records or the powerful tradition that has grown around her story, Sybil represents an important American idea. Courage does not have an age requirement. You don't have to be famous to make a difference. You don't have to hold a powerful position. Sometimes changing history begins with simply saying, I will help. So here's the verse of the day. Do not despise these small beginnings, for the Lord rejoices to see the work begin. Zechariah, paragraph 4, verse 10. Small acts of courage and service can have an impact far greater than we realize. So here's a question for you all to think about. Who is someone from American history you believe more people should know about? Maybe it's a soldier, a teacher, an inventor, a community leader, someone whose story deserves to be remembered. Share their name in the comments below. So here's the coach's challenge for the week. Find a famous American or an American from history you've never heard of before. Spend 10 minutes learning their story. Then share what you've learned with someone else. History stays alive when we pass it forward. It may surprise you on what you find out and what you learn about. As in the nation today, you see all types of violence and hate. The two parties at each other's throats, and us in the middle. You, me, the American people in the middle. As someone is trying to build a third party. Why? So now we have three parties fighting each other. Instead of the United States only being divided in half, we now will be divided in thirds. Is that better? Maybe, maybe not. But think about it. Do we need that third party? So here's my final whistle and my final thoughts. One of the greatest lessons I've learned as a coach is that every person on a team matters. The star player gets the attention, but championships are won because everyone does their job. America's stories works the same way. We remember the famous names, and we should, of course, but we also need to remember the everyday Americans who stepped up when their communities needed them, when their country needed them. People like Sybil Ludington remind us that courage isn't about your age, your title, your position. It's about your willingness to serve. Every generation gets a chance to write its own chapter. The question is, what will yours say? What will your chapter say? How will it end? We don't need a third party. We need people to step up in their own party and say enough is enough. Will you be that person? So I'm Coach. Thank you for joining me here on Spin Cycle America. Remember, this isn't about being perfect. It's about being responsible. It's about understanding where we came from, appreciating the freedoms we have, and doing our part to leave America, this country, better for the next generation. We have a great day. Take care of yourselves, take care of your family, and take care of each other. God bless you, your family, and may God continue to bless the United States of America. And you all have an outstanding day, and I'll catch you all on the next episode of Spin Cycle America.